Okay, and ready, go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 22nd episode of the Dynasty Wall Street podcast. I am Kevin Cotillo. I am your host. I have with me John Bosch. What's going on, John?
Not much. Happy to be doing on Dynasty Wall Street, Kevin.
Yeah, nice to be on the our show, I guess, as we can call it, as both of us were on the flagship this past week. And Riley, how are you? Riley Bymaster with us again.
I'm great, man. Finals are coming up. Feeling good. Not about the finals, but happy to be back talking with you boys.
It's always fun to talk fantasy football.
Just whisper it, Kevin. Whisper the new flagship.
The new flagship. I don't think we can go that far. It's still a great product.
You gotta whisper it.
I'm not going to whisper anything of the sort, John. You want to get fired? That's on you. Riley, are you prepared? Are you prepared for your finals at least?
No, but I'm prepared for the Dynasty Fantasy Playoffs.
That's all that matters.
Those are finals.
We're going to do a lot of that tonight, so we'll get you even more ready. We are going to do something tonight that's a little different for us. We're going to do a theme. We're going to start the night off by talking about some T-shirts. You've heard us talking about it a little bit before. We've talked about them in pre-order. We are now in the ordering phase. That's all right. We got them. They're coming. They're shipping. They're on their way. We will get them out to people who have ordered them. So if you want a comfortable T-shirt, and let me tell you, they are super, super comfortable. I sleep in these T-shirts just about every night because I have several different types of them, not the Wall Street ones, but I do have other ones that are the same soft material. I sleep in them constantly. They're very comfortable. And they're great. So $20, hit us up on Twitter. You can send a note to @Dynasty Wall Street with an ST for street there. Or you can send a note to me @Kevin Cotillo, John @John Bosch FF, or Riley @TTC_Riley B. Any one of us, let us know what your size is and your address, and we'll get them out to you. So yeah, hit us up for a T-shirt. Also, nope, never mind. Let me go back. John, when am I supposed to do this read, by the way? Does it matter?
Probably at the beginning is a good idea.
Okay. Also, we want to let everyone know that we are excited to announce you can now find our podcast on Clipcast. That's right. Clipcast is a new service where our episodes are automatically made searchable along with many other podcasts and fed into their search engine as they are published. You can search for any phrase or any player and hear short audio clips around that topic. So if you hear us talk about any of the players tonight and you search for them, you might be able to hear a clip from this very podcast. You can even filter down to that specific fantasy football genre you want, such as DFS or Dynasty. Obviously, you want to look for Dynasty stuff if you want to hear us. It is free to all users. You just need to visit their website at clipca.st to start using it. And for the podcasters out there, you can join this system and be featured right alongside us. Many other podcasts in the fantasy football world are doing it. You'll get access to their new tool set, and every time someone searches for your podcast on the site, it counts as a download for your pod. So try out Clipcast by heading over to clipca.st. Again, that's website is clipca.st. No need for the .com or anything else. It's clipca.st. Tool is great and really helps people find targeted clips of audio from their favorite podcasts. So definitely check those guys out. All right, we're going to do the show a little bit different because we're going to start off with a advice topic to get the show rolling because there's been a lot of injuries over the past couple of weeks. It's been a rough few weeks for many fantasy players. A lot of big names going down, and we want to help you through that. So we're going to talk a little bit tonight about what you do when you're a contender who maybe just lost one of your studs, you're on your road to a championship, you think everything's going great, and then boom, you lose a big name off your roster. Or on the flip side, if you're a team that's in rebuild mode or you're struggling through and you have some draft capital or you're trying to, get yourself in position to build quickly, how to target those injured players or make the most out of your situation when a guy goes down. So John, we'll start off with you. I think in a lot of leagues that we play in together, you're in that championship type mode where you're gunning for it, and you posted some of the your rosters in some of our league chats or our discussion chats for the show, and you got hit pretty hard with some injuries. So what do you do?
Oh, it's been terrible, actually. I've had a good season, but recently I've lost Melvin Gordon, Cooper Kupp, Marvin Jones. These are guy percentage exposure to. So honestly, I like to go for it. I should learn my lesson from last year when I lost Aaron Rodgers and traded him straight up for Jameis Winston. I still didn't win the league, but at the time, I think it was the right move because I know Aaron Rodgers wasn't. Jameis Winston gave me a chance at the time, but I'm repeating the same mistake, I guess. I don't even think it's a mistake, honestly. My opinion is if you have a chance for a championship, you sell. I know it's a terrible time to sell Marvin Jones, Cooper Kupp, or Melvin Gordon. Like, I'm going to take a loss, or I'm going to have to use that guy and pay more than I should to have to get up to the next guy up in that tier. But a championship to me is worth way more than keeping my roster sound. I hate doing that because I know it completely leaves me vulnerable to be taking advantage of, which is exactly what I do if I'm in the other side. Like if I know somebody lost Melvin Gordon, I will go out and I will offer a low ball offer. So, hey, you can get production still for the next 3 weeks while he's out. And then I get Melvin Gordon long-term, which makes me a lot happier if I'm not a contender. So it sucks, but ultimately I just kind of try and suck it up, pay the price, and try to keep the ball rolling.
So Riley, let's talk a little bit about the flip side of that John just mentioned, where you're the team rebuilding. I know you and I have talked about rebuilds. You have a couple of teams that you're working on a heavy rebuild on. And so I'm curious though, because we know all the draft capital that you've accumulated, and I know in one league that John and I used to be in that you're still in is you have multiple first round picks.
Multiple is an understatement.
Yeah, you've pretty much dominated the entire first round at this point. So, but we know that the value of picks increase closer to the draft, right? The closer you get as people start to know who the players are that they can take with those picks, when you know the positions of those picks, they're higher right before the draft, right? Is now a bad time to use them, or?
It's actually not. So in my case, I have several firsts piled up that I've gotten over the past year or so. And after a lot of these guys have gone down, I actually throw offers out there. I'll throw out a first and a third for a Cooper Kupp, or same for Will Fuller. Marvin Jones, I might even try a second and a lesser prospect, like an Equinemius St. Brown or something like that. Because if a contender loses that kind of player, that player drops immediately. But if they can get a first or a couple seconds or some ammo to go get somebody else, that is probably very appealing to them. So I love making those moves. I've tried to get Geis everywhere with some draft picks in my rebuilding teams. Everybody still loves the guy because he's a great person, despite the character concerns in air quotes. He's the only guy I've really been unsuccessful in acquiring. But I mean, everybody else, once they get injured, their stock drops. So those are moves I love trying to make.
And what's your strategy if you're the guy that loses a Melvin Gordon or a Cooper Kupp and you're contending for a championship? We heard John's. Are you the same way? Do you still go all in if you think you have a shot?
Yeah, if you got a shot, I mean, you're going to do what it takes to try and get you to at least the championship game. It's hard to say what to sell for because you just don't know. So, I mean, you got to test the waters and start sliding in DMs and send text messages asking, hey, you be interested in Melvin Gordon? Because obviously you're not making the playoffs. And, just based on talks, how they go from there, then you're going to get a much better read. But it's hard to say from that side of the equation. But, yeah, always try to win.
I feel like when Riley says the term slide into DMs,
clear. Like it's
appropriate, but I'm like an old man, so when I say it, it's weird.
I definitely want to like try and get like a Josh Adams first, somebody that can like just kind of get me through at least, and I don't have to pay a lot of capital to replace what I just lost. But I'll be honest, when people see you knocking at the door as a contender and they replace that production you just lost coming, they know why you're coming. They understand that you're in a position that you're going to pay a little bit more. So once we start talking on the level of, well, this is going to cost me more than I want to pay for Josh Adams, at that point, then I just kind of resign myself to the fact of, this is going to cost me more. I'm just going to pay the premium. It's kind of like when you're on vacation. You just chalk things up to, I'm just going to pay the extra price because I'm enjoying life right now. But
it's actually a very good analogy.
It is. I've not been successful in trying to acquire a cheaper replacement piece because I think people they know what you're trying to do. I mean, they do. People, and if you can get by with it, that's awesome. But if you're in a league where people are paying attention, they're going to know what you're trying to do when you come knocking on the door for Gus Edwards or Josh Adams. You're just trying to get just trying to fill a slot, and they don't want to sell you that for cheap. So if you can get it for cheap, definitely go that route first.
All right. Well, let's get into the process. We are Dynasty Wall Street, as we talked about previously. And if you're new to the show, we use the Dynasty Trade Calculator, which you can find on dynastytradecalculator.com. We talk about a couple of different players from each position, and through the lens of the value of that player, as we talked about throughout the beginning of this show tonight, in case you haven't guessed, we're going to talk about all injured players here tonight. So we will use a 12-team PPR Superflex scoring format in the calculator in order to, use a baseline. If we use anything different, we'll let you know, but that's typically the standard that we're using. And we're going to talk about a running back, a wide receiver, and a tight end tonight. And John, I think you're going to kick us off with the running back, who you lost in multiple places.
I did. I can't tell you the exposure that I have to Melvin Gordon. It's ridiculous. He was so he was just the cheaper running back. And I liked him a lot. So unfortunately, I have a lot of him. Fortunately, because he's done really well all year. Unfortunately, because of right now. But now I find myself in this situation with Melvin Gordon coming in on the calculator at 40.7. If you're going to go pick wise, that's equivalent to basically 2 of the top 4 2019 picks. You can kind of mix and match to get the value to equal up, but basically we'll start there. 2 of the 2019 top 4 picks. Kevin, would you give 2 2019 top 4 picks for Melvin Gordon?
I mean, obviously, so we're gonna look at this through the lens that we just talked about, right? If you're buying him, you're probably
no. Right now, we're talking in the vacuum. We'll go into the lens in a little bit.
All right. Well, in the vacuum, hands down, yeah, I give 2 top 4 picks for Melvin Gordon, especially this year.
All right, Riley, what about you? In the vacuum, would you do that?
It's tougher because I think he's peaked, but yes.
Because Riley likes picks.
I just don't think we've seen his best production. He's not going to get significantly better.
You think there's a decline coming though? And when I say decline, I mean a rapid decline, because that's important, right? While we may have peaked, is the peak going to last for another 2 years? Because if it is, I'm okay with that.
I don't think it's a rapid decline, but I mean, his value is never going to be higher than it was week 6 of this year, if that makes sense. I just think he's going to be a low end running back one, for the next 2 years. So yeah, I'd give 2 top 4 picks for that.
I would as well. So we'll shift to the lens that Kevin was referring to now. If you're a contender, is there any chance in the world that you would sell for 219 picks? Kevin,
No, because if you're a contender, that doesn't help you, right? Picks aren't going to do anything, and I'm not giving up Gordon for that. I just hold it. If I can't find any other running back to replace him with, then I'm not taking picks either. On the flip side, if I'm the non-contender, yeah, I'd buy him for two top, 4 picks, of course.
Riley, just to make sure, would you give Gordon away if you're a contender for 2 picks right now?
If I'm a contender, no, not a chance.
Okay. So we can basically scrap that, because that's basically the point that I wanted to make, that at this point, picks don't matter when you're trying to shop a guy like Melvin Gordon. You're looking to replace that production. And even if you're not a contender, like, you have to understand that that's what the contender is looking for. They're not really looking for picks. So you're probably not really going to get that kind of a deal done. So let's slide into a few players. Start at the top tier. I think this tier is pretty easy, but we'll go Kareem Hunt, 45.7, Christian McCaffrey, 45.4, Joe Mixon, 39.8, and David Johnson, 39.4. Is there anybody on that list that you would not give Melvin Gordon straight up for right now? Start there.
I'd rather have all those guys.
Oh, Riley, go ahead.
Sorry, I'd rather
Riley, what was it?
I'd rather have all 4 of those guys over Gordon. I mean, it's
okay.
Mixon's close.
Who was it? Who was between Mixon and McCaffrey?
Hunt,
McCaffrey, Mixon, DJ.
Yeah, Mixon for me is the close one, only because I don't trust Cincinnati. But yeah, I'd prefer Mixon. McCaffrey, Hunt,
so
DJ.
Kevin, as a contender, would you give up Mixon for all 4 of those?
Gordon, you mean?
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. Would you give up Gordon for all 4 of those?
No, I wouldn't. I would give up Gordon for
Hunt
and McCaffrey in a heartbeat. No questions asked. Hands down, yes. That's something I would do. DJ, I'm pretty sure I would. Actually, I know I would. So I would do DJ too. Joe Mixon, no. The reason being, and the reason I paused on DJ, and the reason I say no to Mixon is because I don't know that the production is going to be enough the rest of the season to really hamstring. I guess I shouldn't say hamstring, because it's not going to hurt you a ton over the course of the next few seasons. But I'm not downgrading from Melvin Gordon to Mixon, who I think is a downgrade, going forward as well as this year. Because I don't know that he's going to offer me the same production I'm going to get out of, I expect to get out of Gordon. I'm targeting one of those other guys, Hunt, Christian McCaffrey. I'm going hard after one of those guys, and I'm going to make sure I get those guys, because I think that those are the guys that will take me to a championship. I don't guarantee that Mixon takes me to a championship. Same thing with DJ, which makes me a little nervous. I just think DJ's production going forward in future years is going to be on par with Gordon anyway. I trust DJ going forward because I think the Cardinals offense will get figured out with pieces like Josh Rosen getting better and them adding to the offensive line, which I assume they'll do.
Okay, so I think we're all easily Hunt over Christian McCaffrey. So then we'll flip it then. You have Mixon or DJ on your roster on a non-contending team. Would you make that offer to the Melvin Gordon owner? Would you offer either or both of those players? Kevin, it sounds like you definitely would.
Yeah, I absolutely would offer Mixon or DJ for Gordon right now.
Riley, what about you?
No, I'd rather have Mixon and DJ, or Mixon or DJ.
Long term, you want to keep those guys and not make that offer.
I do. Yeah, because I mean, Mixon's still 20. I believe he's only 22 right now. I think he's about to turn 23. I mean, he's looked a lot better this year. Hopefully Cincinnati kind of bolsters the line a little bit more. Probably not. John's shaking his head. I don't know.
Quit hoping for anything out of the Bengals. Never hope for the Bengals.
I don't know. It's Mixon's a phenomenal talent.
Mixon will be 23 going into next season.
Oh, see, so, I mean, he's still so young. I'd rather have Mixon for sure. It's close though, so not for sure, but you get it.
So let's switch down to the next tier with Melvin Gordon. Would you trade him right now straight up for Nick Chubb or James Conner? They come in at 36 and 32. So we're dropping quite a bit here in the calculator. Riley, we'll start with you. If you're to give Melvin Gordon straight up for Nick Chubb or James Conner.
No, I'd rather have Gordon. I would.
Wow. Okay. What about you, Kevin?
So we talked about this a little bit in a couple of discussions we've had, and Nick Chubb is borderline for me. I'd probably do it if I'm a contender and really think that if I really think that I can win a championship, Chubb is a guy that I would probably take on. I like him long term. I like him for this year. Definitely better than Mixon. So he's a guy that I would say yes. And the other one was
James Conner.
Oh, Connor. Connor's tough. Yeah, I think I would, especially as a contender. I straight up's tough, but I think I would.
See, I mean, Gordon, he didn't tear anything. I think he's just sitting out for 2 weeks, but I know that takes you into the first round.
I would say it's a multiple week injury. You're talking most
it might be 3 weeks.
Yeah, most leagues are getting into their final week. If not, they're already starting playoffs, right? So you're talking week 14 or 15 return. You're into playoffs,
talking
right?
Semifinals, semifinals right there.
In that case, I think I may do it for Connor, but not Chubb.
Okay.
Why not
All right.
Chubb?
Well, Riley, okay, go.
Oh, geez. Why not Chubb?
Because Riley hates Chubb. We know that.
No, I'm just curious because look, and the reason I ask is because you're okay with Mixon. I think, I mean, for whatever, I guess if you like the player Mixon a lot better than you like the player Chubb, fine. But I think their situations are fairly similar, right? Their offenses, and to me, Cleveland's a trajectory is way higher than Mixon's is.
So that's the only thing. Mixon, I think, is going to be the guy. He's going to get touches because you're not going to let Jeff Driscoll throw the ball 20 plus times. I know it's it's kind of backwards. I just think Baker can pick up a rhythm very easily. I think he and Duke Johnson have a good thing. I could be wrong, but I'm not saying Chubb's a bad player. There's so many mouths to feed once Baker really starts picking it up, and I don't think he has yet, which is scary because he's been awesome.
So you think your whole thing is Baker related then? Because if you look at the teams outside of quarterback, right? If you look at the teams, it's all very similar. You got the Duke Johnson, Gio Bernard. You got the Joe Mixon versus Nick Chubb. Cleveland has a better offensive line, but the weapons you're talking about, depending on what you think of Antonio Callaway, but you have Jarvis Landry and AJ Green, 2 top wide receivers, right? You have 2 tight ends. Cleveland has a better tight end.
So for me, if you're a contender, it's still right now at this point in the season, and if you're a contender, it's 50% redraft, 50% dynasty. You still kind of have to have in the back of your mind, who do I prefer next year? But at the same time, who can give me points now? Next year, easily for me, Mixon, Gordon, Connor, all over Chubb. I know people don't agree with that. I know both of you shaking your heads, but
I just can't put Mixon over Chubb. The others, fine. I can make those arguments all day long. Mixon, I can't do it. That offense, I don't have any faith in it, and he just hasn't been a consistent enough producer to make me think that he can make it happen despite the offense around him.
My outlook on Mixon the rest of the season is LaShawn McCoy. Honest to God, everything is set up so perfectly that the volume should be enormous and fantasy points should follow. But I think how did that happen week? Seriously, he got I've bashed Joe Mixon for 2 years now, saying don't waste your time with him. He's a Bengal and they have no idea what they're doing. But that's the honest truth. They don't. It's not going to improve when you bring in the backup quarterback. That's not all of a sudden going to give you like, we have this great running back weapon. Why don't we just use him? That's not what's going to happen for the Bengals. If it does, it will be an anomaly from the last 10 years of what the Bengals have done.
Really, it boils down to
if he starts catching 5 or 6, 7 passes a game, and if you're in a point per carry league, he starts getting 20 plus carries. Do I care if he's rushing for 3.8 yards an attempt? No, because I'm still getting the points for the carries.
Then plus he's going to go. You might as well go bust LaShawn McCoy then. LaShawn McCoy's a hell of a lot cheaper. He's almost free. And he's going to get 15 to 20 carries from Buffalo and run in the back of his offensive lineman and get stuffed for a yard a carry average.
Well, yeah, but then it's like I said earlier, the 50-50 dynasty thing. Obviously, McCoy is going to be almost nothing next year.
Correct.
But you don't have to give up Gordon.
I don't. That's my outlook on Mixon.
That's
so I'm super down on likes Mixon.
This is what it is. It all boils down to Riley. Riley's an ageist. And Chubb is 6 months older than Mixon.
That's not it. That's not it. Let me get to the final tier real fast. We already spent too much time on Melvin Gordon, but I want to question the next tier. Leonard Fournette at 30, Dalvin Cook 27.1, and then we actually drop a lot lower, but some names I find kind of interesting. Sony Michel 21.1 and Aaron Jones 20.3. Those guys are like half the value of Mel. What they're going to weeks, they're going to produce numbers. I'm curious what strategies you guys would take from a contender and non-contender standpoint. Kevin, let's start with you. Would you give these guys as a non-contender? Would you try and sneak that offer in of, hey, Aaron Jones is all of a sudden free. You want him instead of Melvin Gordon? What would you do there, Kevin?
I gave up Sony Michel and Julian Edelman for Melvin Gordon in a league this past week. So yeah, right. I would do that deal all day long.
I actually forgot about that. That's terrible.
Yeah. Sony Michel and Julian Edelman for Melvin Gordon. So you guys know that I asked your opinion on it because I have a Sony block in my head that when someone tries to get him from me, I just can't pull the trigger. So I had to make sure that I was being crazy about it. I was obviously. Sony and Edelman for Gordon is a hands down no-brainer smash accept, I think.
Agreed.
Unless you are a contender that's trying to win, which I wasn't in that league, so it worked out perfectly for me. As for Aaron Jones, yeah, same thing. I'm going to give up that guy for Melvin Gordon. On the other side, if I'm the Gordon owner, man, I
need a pick. I need a pick on the back end.
Yeah, I think I need a pick as well. And I don't even know that I would have done the deal that I did in reverse with Edelman. Because that helps me this year, but he's trash after that, right? I mean, maybe he plays another year, maybe he plays 2 years, whatever, but he's not going to be great. And I think Jones I'd be more likely to because I see the path for him to be a very consistent performer over the course of this year. I love Sony long term. I'm talking about
I just mean your Aaron Jones love all of a sudden goes from real low to like, ooh, Kevin's Aaron Jones love.
I'm all aboard the Aaron Jones train for sure. Yeah, no question about it. But and I think he'll be better the rest of this season. So I think that's why if I was a contender, he's the guy out of those two I would want. But I'd still need a pick like Riley.
What about the other two guys? What about Fournette and Cook? Which way would you go there in both situations?
I have no interest in Fournette at all. Absolutely 100% no way. He's suspended for this week anyway. God only knows what happens with that offense the rest of the way. Cook, I've never been a big Cook guy. I mean, I see the talent. I see the ability. I just don't know if he can stay on the field, and that makes me nervous. I don't like guys like that on my roster so much. Sony is another reason why I'm down a little bit on him is because of these injuries that keep popping up for him. But I might be more inclined to do Cook, but again, I might want something on top. Riley,
So
what about
it
you?
sounds like even if you're contending, you're not going to take the now production Fournette and Cook.
I'm a
and give
little
up Melvin
conservative,
Gordon.
so I need to have. If I'm gonna make this move, I want to know that I'm still the same level of contender.
All right. What about you, Riley? What
Well,
about you? If you're contending, would you Fournette or Cook and else on top of those?
Well, to address the Fournette thing, I think it's a blessing that he's suspended because he gets to stay healthy going into the playoffs. I love it, actually.
He won't be hurt in week 14.
True. I took over an orphan, and that's how I got my only Fournette share. And I'm in the playoffs. I've already locked up a spot. And guess what? I have Fournette. He's healthy going into first week of the playoffs. So cheers to that. I'd need a pick on any of those four guys if I move Gordon, just because there's some risk with all of them. Even the production's not it's obviously a tier or two down. So if I get a second on top of any of them, I'll probably do it just to grab some points for the playoffs. But do I want to? No, I'd rather go get Doug Martin for free or Theo Riddick for a couple thirds or something like that.
Oh, that's so gross. That's so gross. What about the flip side, Riley? If you actually have Fournette, Cook, Sony, or Aaron Jones, are you reaching out to the owner of Melvin saying, hey, what?
Oh, hell yeah, I'm reaching out. I'm not even reaching out. I'm just sending the offers. Straight up, 1 for 1. And if they reject it, I'm good. I'll sit still.
Wow. All right. So that's way too long on Melvin Gordon already. But I think a lot of people are actually probably in that situation. He has probably led you to the playoffs. Hopefully we provided some sort of direction on what you can do with him. Let's move on to a wide receiver that might have helped you to the playoffs so we can foggy up that situation. Riley, what do you have for us on Cooper Kupp?
Yeah, Kupp led me. I know I have a couple of rebuilding teams, but all my other ones, several of them had Kupp. He was carrying me. He was a great wide receiver 2 to have, even though I had him slotted as my third guy. He was on pace for 80 receptions, 1,100 yards, and 12 touchdowns through 8 games.
Oh,
I know.
Thank you, Cooper Kupp. Oh.
He got us there. Then he tore his ACL. We all cried. It sucks, but he comes in out of the calculator at a 12.2 value. Definitely dropped a little bit over the last couple of weeks. That is equivalent to the 2019 109. So your typical mid to late first. Kevin, are you taking a 2019 109 or Cooper Kupp?
Well, straight up, no, I mean, without any, whether or not.
Sorry, if you're a contender. Yeah, my bad.
I mean, even if we're gonna do it in the vacuum, I will take that deal all day long. I'll give a 109 for Cooper Kupp. I'm not taking a 109 for Cooper Kupp. I'm holding him for that. And if I'm a contender, again, we talked about it. The picks don't really matter, right? So pick value, not a big deal when you're a contender. You don't want to get picks if that's the deal. And I'm holding Kupp for sure. John, what about you?
Agree with Kevin. He nailed it. I don't even think as a non-contender, I'd feel comfortable sending the offer because I understand what a contender is looking for. They don't really care about getting the 109. That's not going to help them. So, and I'm a huge, pour one out for Cooper Kupp. I'm a huge fan of his. So yeah, it's heartbreaking.
Riley did bring up the point earlier in the show when we were talking about the strategy of this whole thing that, maybe you're helping a contender get picks to get something else. So do send feelers out for that type of stuff. But you just know that it's probably not going to happen, right? That maybe they need something to, an extra piece to go higher, but I wouldn't expect it.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a situation where I touch base. Hey, are you looking to get rid of Cooper Kupp right now? Send that message. I'm not going to probably open with an offer. That's a scenario where I 100% say, you looking to get rid of Cooper Kupp for something that might help you? If they
get the thought in their mind.
Yeah, give me Cooper Kupp. Yeah, give me Cooper Kupp for sure.
All right, so moving on to players.
Riley, I assume you're in agreement.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Easily. Yeah, you said it perfectly, so I don't need to say it again.
So the rare agreement amongst all three of us.
It's true. Let's just take a moment.
And now let's ruin it.
And now we're going to disagree.
And now let's go to players where Riley's like, yeah, sure, give me some rookie, some Devi player that I've never heard of.
I'm not even going to say his name. So
I want
you're a
no
contender and locked up a spot in the playoffs, and you just lost Cooper Kupp. Would you move him for any one of these three players? Alshon Jeffrey, who comes in at a 16.0, Tyler Boyd, who comes in at 11.0, and Josh Gordon, who comes in at a 15.8. It's a very weird variety of players, but all three have been solid, consistent producers. So Bosch, we'll start with you this time. I mean, how does this fall for you?
So Riley, did you like log into my account and check the offers that I was actually sent for Cooper Kupp? Breaking.
I did. I'm full
honestly,
on corrupt.
Like, this is the situation I'm in because I have Kupp. I don't want any of these guys over him, but none of these guys are going to help me to a championship. I can't start Cooper Kupp for the next 4 weeks. This is so bad. And it's such a terrible thing to think, well, I'm not giving up this guy just for that because all I want is 4 weeks of production. But I really like to win. I really like to win. I give him up for Alshon or Tyler Boyd. There's no chance I give him up for Gordon because I don't know what's going on in New England. But these are, but it wasn't, unfortunately, the offers like that I got that involved any of these players, it wasn't just for Cooper Kupp straight. That's the sad part. People know that I like to win, so they know they want to take advantage. So they send like, hey, Tyler Boyd in a second, and you give me Cooper Kupp. And I'm like, I can't do that. But yeah, just straight up, take Tyler Boyd, even though I hate the Bengals, and I think Tyler Boyd will be terrible over the next 4 weeks, and I will live to regret it. Championship-wise, I think it's the right move. So for contender, yeah, I'll take Tyler Boyd. Yeah, I'll take Alshon Jeffrey. I still don't want Josh Gordon. I don't want to know what's going on in New England. So Kevin, what about you?
My initial thought is Jeffrey's a guy I'll take, but no, I'm not taking any of these guys, and I'll tell you
Kevin,
why.
You're not getting any points from. You're not getting points.
You have guys on your bench, though, Bosch. We're not talking about the fact that you have no one else on your team. There has to be guys on your bench, right? So you're not getting zeros. You're not just leaving Kupp in your lineup. And Alshon Jeffrey,
you've seen my pigs rosters. They get thin.
Alshon Jeffrey over the last 3 games, right?
Not good. Not good.
11 catches.
Yeah.
11 catches for like 120 yards. He hasn't topped 9 points in any of those matchups. He's just it's not good. Why would you sell Kupp?
What about I have another player. Would you sell Cooper Kupp for Tyler Lockett right now if you're a contender?
That just hurts.
Oh God, no!
Tugging on my heartstrings.
I know
God,
Bosch would say no.
Like,
I would say no.
I would.
But
I would say no. But
I want to know what Kevin says.
I would have sold Cooper. Kevin's like, I'd have sold Cooper Kupp for Lockett at the beginning of the year. Of course, I would have.
No, I wouldn't have done that. No, absolutely not. And no, I probably wouldn't do that. Although he's the best he's the more consistent out of all of these guys we mentioned so far. Boyd's the only other one that I think I might consider. But again, I'm looking at him with a backup quarterback, and over his last 3 weeks, he hasn't been very good. He had a good game against Cleveland in Week 12.
This past week. Just to jump in,
the one advantage to Boyd is that a lot of times backup quarterbacks, they come in, they don't really care.
Yeah, that'll help John Ross.
They don't care if they
nothing
throw 3
will help
interceptions.
John Ross.
But AJ Green's probably back. AJ Green's probably back this week.
Tyler Boyd with AJ Green. He's better with AJ Green on the field.
Retweet. Yes. So if I had Kupp as a contender,
Riley just live retweeted our Google Hangout.
I would take Boyd. I would take Boyd over Kupp on IR because I know Boyd's going to be solid over the next 4 weeks.
That's so
it sucks. I know it
It
sucks, but
does.
if it gets me closer to a title, then sure.
I don't think you're winning a title with either of these three over whatever you might have. On your
Well,
bench.
what if you have OBJ and every other good player, and you just
don't
need
have
that
OBJ on your
flex?
bench.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But who else is on your bench though? That's what I'm saying. You're talking about guys that are
Noah
averaging.
Brown's on my bench.
I think I think you're looking at like a bench level player, judging from my rosters, bench level player, Mohamed Sanu, Nelson Aguilar. Like, do I think those guys have the upside?
Mohamed Sanu
of
has
Tyler
more
Boyd?
points over the last 3 games than Alshon Jeffrey.
Oh, you're breaking my heart.
I'm just
Kevin.
saying, like, these are guys that you can
No,
plug in. You're not getting that much of a reduction. That's all.
But I have zero upside to try and win when it matters. I understand that Alshon's pretty safe. I get that. Mohamed Sanu, he's going to give me 7 points. He's not going to give me 20. He's probably not going to give me 0. There's a chance Tyler Boyd goes out there and gives me 20. This is the argument I have in my head all day, and this is why
you're telling me that Cup's
fantasy football, and I love.
You're telling me the Cup's worth the 109. I want the 109 plus any of these guys you've mentioned in order to get Cup for me.
If I wasn't contending, I would totally agree.
Even if I'm a contender, I'm just not doing it. I think I'd rather.
I gotta
I'd
go
rather
with
struggle.
roster, Kevin.
I'd rather struggle with a replacement player than pull off than trade Cup for one of these guys.
You still want Zeke for Lev Bell?
No, I'm gonna trade. I'm up. I have Cup. I'm the one with Cup. I'm gonna go trade you Cup for some guy that helps me plus a for 109. That's what I want.
Yeah, that's great, and I'm gonna take that all day long.
You guys remember when we agreed?
All right, I'm looking.
I'll give you Alshon for a Cup and a 109. Sure.
I'm old enough to remember that. Yeah, that's for sure.
This feels like so long ago.
It was a long time ago.
Oh,
Riley, any other receivers you got?
Hey, this is why you take advantage of contenders. I mean, this is the reason you do it, because winning is fun. If you have Tyler Boyd, oh my God, go ask that owner of Cooper Cup. Hey, would you rather have Tyler Boyd? If you can flip Tyler Boyd, who was a waiver wire player going into the season, for Cooper Cup, that is like that's winning. That's how you rebuild that's how you do a rebuild.
I undo my retweet because I disagree with what you said. Just because he was a waiver wire player doesn't mean that he's just worthless.
I'm not saying he's worthless, but you're going all the way from 0. I know you have the investment thing you want to talk about. I like you go from 0 investment to having Cooper Cup. Yes, if you're a rebuilder,
but Boyd,
Cooper Cup.
I wouldn't say
do not.
I wouldn't say Boyd is terribly far off from Cup. Same kind of player, same position, same age, different.
Way different offense.
That's the key.
Way different offense.
That's why Cup
way different offense. Way different coaching. If you're looking at the checks and balances, you're looking at a scale. You put 2019 Cooper Cup and 2019 Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd gets shot to the moon on that scale because Cooper Cup weighs him down so much. No, way Cooper Cup.
All right, I'm done with receiver. Yeah, moving on.
Moving on, then I'll talk about the tight end, the injured tight end, OJ Howard. Obviously, has gone on injured reserve. The Cameron Brate owners.
I'm still sad that I said I'd give up Cooper Cup for Tyler Boyd. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
I'll retweet the apology.
You just have to apologize to Cooper Cup. That's what you have to do.
Oh.
All right, so tight ends, OJ Howard. He comes in at a calculator value of 9.5. So in pick value, that's the 2019 1.12. And Riley, just for you, you'd have to throw on a late 4th on top of that in order to get it done. So the 112 and a late 4th, Riley, for OJ Howard.
Shit, I don't know.
Giving that late 4th up is really
no. I was gonna say the 112. He was done. It was done. But now he's gonna give up a 4th.
I'd probably rather have OJ.
I think this is easily OJ.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not that I like OJ as a player. I think he's going to be a very good dynasty asset. But there's a lot of mouths to feed in that offense. The
you just got through off air telling me how many less mouths there'll be to feed next year.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you still have Evans, Godwin, Howard, Brait because they signed him, plus the running back. No Humphreys and no
the running back.
You're not even sure it's going to be Jones.
I don't know. It'll be somebody. It'll be Charles Sims, 2019. Charles Sims.
Jack Queasy.
Yeah. But no, yeah, it's OJ for me.
Yeah, here's the reason it's OJ for me is it's tight end's hard to find. We've talked about it multiple times. It's kind of a wasteland, as our good friend Zach Reed would sing out. It's tough, and it's hard to find a solid tight end. So if you have one, what's the 112 going to get you that's necessarily in that fourth really going to do? It's not going to find you a tight end necessarily that's going to outproduce OJ Howard going into next year. And we talked about, obviously, the picks don't matter when you're a contender. So let's move along to some similar players. I have some tight ends for you guys to talk about here. Trey Burton comes in on the calculator at a 7.5. So you'd have to give up, and I did this a little different this time because I was curious. So because he's a 7.5, in order to get to the value, you'd have to actually throw in a late third. So we'll talk Trey Burton in a late third. David Njoku is a 9.8, so pretty similar value there. Austin Hooper, who is just completely devalued, I think, for some reason. He does not get the respect he deserves. He's a 6.7, so you're giving up a mid to late third with him. And Eric Ebron, who I know John hates and Riley has sworn off.
Such a roller coaster.
Is an 8.0, so you'd have to give up an early fourth, Riley, with him to get OJ Howard. So let's start off with John, and we'll start off from the contender position. You are a contender who just lost OJ Howard. Are you buying any of these guys?
First of all, I don't hate Ebron. If you go back to I don't know, whatever 10 episodes ago or whatever, I'm pretty sure I said I'm in on the Ebron ship again out in the ocean. And that's a perfectly good description of what's going to happen when Ebron catches 0 passes on 0 targets and doesn't complete his, pass attempt at Andrew Luck in the end zone. That's what's going to happen to me in week 14 or 15 when it really matters. I know it's coming. So
with Jack Doyle out, I don't think you could say that this year. This year.
I don't think so either.
I get it going forward, sure.
I think Ebron's actually strong. I'm just predicting that bagel because he's going to do it to me. He's going to burn me again. Coming. If I'm a contender, I don't think Austin Hooper. I give him up for Burton and Njoku because not only situations, I like their futures. I love Njoku's future. Njoku would be my first one off this list if I could get him. And I'd add a third or fourth or whatever to any of these guys. I don't really care about those.
I think you're going to pay more for Njoku. If you have to get Njoku, I think so too. The calculator value is about the same, but I think you're going to have to give up at least a second.
I think so too.
I think they were even before the injury.
Before, but now they're not. So I think I'd probably give up OJ Howard. We'll talk about that in a second. I think I'd give that up to get Njoku because if I'm a contender, I want that now production. I still have the future production. And honestly, I think Njoku can be better than OJ Howard. So I have no problem giving up a second for that. Trey Burton, they feel about me because of the injury. I understand. I'm going to give up a lottery pick at current production. I'm okay with that as well. Eric Ebron, oh my God. Because what I think his situation is for the rest of this year for a contender, I'll take him. Whatever. That's fine. Just pile on the pain. Keep adding Eric Ebron. Game from my tight end position. Ebron has a chance to do it because of his situation. Austin Hooper, I don't actually think he does. I don't think the Falcons have fantastic matchups, actually. I think they have some average ones, but they're not like killing it from a matchup perspective. And he's got a lot more weapons on that offense that he can easily disappear in a game that can cost me the game. So I'm not paying up from Austin Hooper to OJ Howard to try to replace OJ Howard. Does that make sense?
Yep. All right, Riley, what about you?
I'm going to try and make my explanations a little bit simpler.
Sorry about that all.
Njoku, number one, absolutely. I'd buy him regardless of your OJ injury. I'd give OJ plus for Njoku. I probably would have even done that before OJ got hurt. Other than that, I'm not giving OJ for any of the other players. If I had to, it would be Hooper plus before Burton. I think Hooper's cheaper than Burton, and I think Hooper can give you similar production, possibly even better production than Burton can. Other than that, tight ends suck so much that I would just rather go.
They really do.
I'd rather go overpay for Cameron Brate. Kyle Rudolph's kind of fallen off on price, and I know he hasn't been consistent, but what the hell? He plays for the Vikings. I'd rather go get him for cheaper than Burton. Other than that, just make some dart throws. Go get Gerald Everett for cheap. Athletic guy.
Who's the Denver guy? Lacoste
Matt
or whatever.
Lacoste.
Like, go get.
Yeah.
Why didn't we talk about Jeff Hireman?
For almost nothing. Yeah,
he got hurt. That's huge.
Because he got.
I'm sorry. I didn't think he was on the level of OJ Howard. My bad there.
That's how bad tight end is. Spend your money replacing it with Lacoste.
Go get Chris Herndon, New York Jets.
There you go,
Chris Herndon, whatever.
Yeah.
I think he's got some upside. I heard somebody said Herndon on a broadcast. I didn't know.
I missed that.
Whatever. But yeah, go by him. I think he's interesting. He's kind of had some steady production over the last month, and he's got a lot of upside.
Yeah, so I'm with you guys. Njoku's a no-brainer for me if you can get Njoku, and even if you have to give up, I think I'd give up a second, with OJ Howard to get Njoku because if I'm a contender, because I think the production's going to be there. Austin Hooper, I think you can probably still get straight up if you're working with a non-contender and you're a contender. I'd probably consider that. I think I like Hooper. I'm a big fan of Hooper. As I mentioned, I think he's undervalued incredibly. His production has been very solid throughout the majority of the season. I get what you're saying, John, about the weapons in that offense, and they do have some tough matchups. But if you get to the championship, they play Carolina in Week 16. Carolina is a prime tight end matchup this year. So
a good one. Yeah, if you get there, it's good.
If you can get there, it's very good. They play Green Bay and Arizona as the two other teams in the playoffs for Hooper. So Hooper's a guy I would do. Sadly, if I can get it straight up, I might consider, I'm not giving anything. I'd probably push to get a little juice, but I might jump on that Ebron roller coaster. What's that? And the only reason I would do it, that's the one area where I think you're going to get production for the rest of the season. So I think he helps you win a championship. I really do. I'm not disagreeing. It's just so gross. I get it, but that's the one. And Trey Burton for me, no, because he's been too inconsistent. I don't know that he helps you win a championship, and I don't really love the future outlook of him either. So sorry, Riley, you didn't say Ebron, so
I forgot to talk about him. Eric Ebron and I are a love story that can be put into a 3-hour movie. I loved him to death, and he broke my heart like 4 years in a row. And then I finally just broke it off with him. And then all of a sudden, he's just phenomenal.
It's a Lifetime movie, though, Riley.
It's a pretty low budget.
Comes back into your life. And wait, it's a Lifetime or Hallmark. We're gonna go Hallmark.
It's a Hallmark movie.
This is when everybody walks
Christmas
time.
It's a Hallmark Christmas movie.
Yes, it's gonna be a Christmas movie. He's back in your life, winning you a championship.
He's back in your life. You haven't seen him in a year, Riley, and all of a sudden, Eric Ebron reappears.
He looks better. Yes. He's catching footballs with his hands, not his feet.
He grew a beard. He's wearing a plaid shirt.
He's still wearing blue, but it's like different.
He's got a quarterback that absolutely loves tight ends.
There's a really nice fire burning in the fireplace.
All right, we've gone
with
hot
an
for too long
offensive
here.
head
That's it.
coach.
Bosh, tell me about the other side. Tell me about the other side of
Okay,
this.
I was going to ask on the other side, if you have OJ Howard, are you trying to abuse this and be like, all right, this all of a sudden male lead in the home, or go get OJ Howard for him? Is there anybody on here that you wouldn't Howard, if you could? I'd flip him. If I could give Eric Ebron for OJ Howard and I'm not contending, that's a slam dunk for me.
I don't think
anybody on this list that you guys aren't giving.
I don't think I'm giving up Njoku for him, because to me that's you're not gaining anything unless you can get like a first or a second on top of it. Then I might, because I think that and I'm not a contender. I might do that. Outside of that,
agree.
I would definitely send Ebron to try and get Howard. I would definitely send Burton to try and get Howard, and I'd probably give up Hooper for Howard as well. If I'm, the other way, I'd try to get that little upgrade. Like I said, I'm not as down on Hooper as it seems like you guys are, but I would certainly try to get Howard for him if I can. Riley?
I'm holding Njoku.
The only one.
Yeah, holding Njoku. Everybody else, give me OJ Howard pretty easily.
All right. Well, that's it. We've made it through. We've talked about the injuries. We've talked about the injured players, what you can do with them, what you should do with them. We've talked about Hallmark movies. It's been a great episode. We want to thank you for listening. We want to remind you to reach out to us on Twitter and tell us if you would like to buy a t-shirt to support the show. $20. Bosh has tweeted out the picture, but we'll get it out there again. They're nice t-shirts. Very soft, and it would really help us out if you bought them. So hit us up on Twitter. You can find the show at Dynasty Wall Street, ST for Street. You can find John Bosch at John Bosch FF. You can find Riley at DTC_Riley B. You can find me at Kevin Cotillo. You can find Nick Whalen at _Nick Whalen. And you can get any of us on Twitter and let us know if you want a t-shirt, including Nick. I'm sure he'll help us out. He'll pass that message along, but just follow Nick because everyone likes to. And that's it for us.
Throw in the Nick Whalen. He threw in the Nick Whalen.
That's it. That's it for us. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
No, Kevin, that's not it. You should also search out FF Missionary. Missionary.
_missionary at _FF Missionary. Yeah. Anyway. All right. That's it for us. Thanks. See ya.
Noah Brown had a catch.
Yay!